Single mom brings daughter to work. Millionaire CEO sees the girl and goes pale. Hello, viewer. Thanks for joining us. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments, along with the city you're watching from. Now let's continue with the story. Mama, you forgot to sign my permission slip. Elena Roas looked up from the stack of bills spread across their tiny kitchen table, her daughter's voice cutting through the fog of worry that had settled over her like morning mist. Lily stood in the doorway, 8 years old and far too perceptive, holding a crumpled paper in one small hand. "Oh, sweetheart," Elena said, reaching for the form. Her fingers trembled slightly as she scanned the words. Zoo field trip. Next Friday, $25. $25 she did not have. "It's okay if I can't go," Lily said quickly, reading her mother's face with the intuition of a child who had learned too young to measure love in sacrifices. "Emma's mum said maybe I could see pictures after." The words landed like stones in Elena's chest. She pulled Lily close, breathing in the strawberry scent of her daughter's shampoo, the one small luxury she refused to skimp on. "You're going," she said firmly. "Mama will figure it out." Because that was what Elena did. She figured things out. She had been figuring things out alone since that morning 9 years ago when she stared at a plastic stick in a Portland bathroom and watched her entire future reshape itself in 2 pink lines. "Go brush your teeth," Elena said, kissing the top of Lily's head. "School in 30 minutes. As Lily bounded away, Elena returned to the bills. Rent due in 3 days. Electricity, past due notice. Groceries, running low. And now, $25 for a field trip that would let her daughter spend 1 normal day being a child, instead of the too serious little girl who understood words like budget and overdue. She counted the cash in the envelope marked emergency, $73. Not enough for rent, enough for the field trip and maybe 2 weeks of groceries if she was careful. The photograph caught her eye, tucked behind the sugar jar where she could see it but Lily could not. She had taken it down from the refrigerator 6 months ago when Lily started asking questions. In it, a younger Elena laughed at something off camera, her eyes bright with a happiness she barely remembered feeling. The photo was 9 years old, taken during a week that existed now only in memory and consequence. She never looked at it anymore. Well, almost never. On nights like these, when the weight of doing everything alone pressed down until she could barely breathe, she would let herself remember. His smile, his hands, the way he looked at her like she was something precious and rare, not just a waitress serving him coffee in a Portland cafe. "I'll call you every day," he had promised at the train station, holding her like he might never let go. He never called, not once. Elena shoved the photo deeper behind the sugar jar. That was the past. This was the present. A present where she worked in the mail room of Croft Holdings, a building so tall she could not see the top floor from the street, where men in suits earned more in a day than she made in a month. Where somewhere, 42 floors above her head, Harrison Croft ran an empire and probably did not remember the name of the woman who had loved him for 7 perfect days. "Mama, I can't find my blue shirt." Elena closed the bills, shoved them back in the drawer, and went to help her daughter find something clean to wear. There would be time to worry later. There was always time to worry later. The morning routine was practiced and efficient. Breakfast, backpack check, hair brushed and braided. Lily's questions about homework and whether they could get a puppy someday, answered with the patience of a woman who had learned to find joy in small moments. They walked to the bus stop together, Elena's hand wrapped around Lily's smaller one. October in the city meant fallen leaves and the crisp promise of winter approaching. Lily chattered about her science project on butterflies, about how caterpillars completely dissolved inside their cocoons before becoming something new. "Do you think it hurts?" Lily asked, tilting her head up at Elena. "Becoming a butterfly?" Elena thought about transformation, about the way life could dissolve you completely before reshaping you into something you did not recognize. "I think," she said carefully, "that growing always hurts a little, but the butterfly doesn't remember the pain once it can fly." Lily seemed satisfied with this answer. At the bus stop, Elena knelt down, straightened Lily's collar, and looked into eyes that were the strangest shade of green-grey, like ocean water under storm clouds. Eyes Lily had not inherited from her. "I love you more than all the stars," Elena whispered, their ritual. "I love you more than all the stars and the spaces between them," Lily completed, throwing her arms around Elena's neck. The bus arrived. Lily climbed aboard, waving from the window until the vehicle turned the corner and disappeared. Elena stood alone on the sidewalk, the morning sun warm on her face, and allowed herself exactly 30 seconds to feel the exhaustion that lived in her bones. Then she straightened her shoulders, checked her watch, and headed for the subway that would take her to Croft Holdings, where she would spend 8 hours sorting mail and pretending she did not exist in the same building as the man who had given her the most precious gift of her life and did not even know it. The subway car was crowded with morning commuters, everyone lost in their phones or their thoughts. Elena gripped the pole and let her mind drift. She had been working at Croft Holdings for 2 years and 9 months. In all that time, she had never seen Harrison Croft in person. He was a name in memos, a signature on company-wide emails, a photograph in the business section of newspapers she could not afford to buy. She had seen his picture, though impossible to avoid in a city where his face appeared on magazine covers and billboards. Each time, it was like touching an old bruise to see if it still hurt. It always did. He looked different now, harder. The warm, idealistic young man who had talked about changing the world had been replaced by sharp suits and sharper eyes. Success looked good on him, she supposed, or perhaps success had simply consumed whatever softness he once possessed. Her phone buzzed, a text from Carmen, her aunt, and the closest thing to a mother Elena had left. "Doctor confirmed it's just my blood pressure. Don't worry, mija. See you tonight to watch Lily." Relief flooded through Elena. Carmen was 63, and the only reliable childcare Elena could afford, which was to say free, offered with the fierce love of family. If something happened to Carmen, Elena did not let herself finish that thought. The subway reached her stop. She climbed the stairs into morning light and stood for a moment in front of Croft Holdings, a tower of steel and glass that seemed to pierce the sky itself. Somewhere up there, in an office she would never see, Harrison Croft was probably drinking expensive coffee and making decisions that moved millions of dollars. Down here, Elena Roas would sort his mail. She used the employee entrance, badged in, and took the service elevator to the 3rd floor, where the mail room hummed with activity. Her co-worker, Tom, was already sorting packages. "Morning, Elena," he said, handing her a coffee. "You look tired." "I'm fine," she said automatically, because what else could she say? That she was always tired, that sometimes she lay awake at night doing math in her head, trying to figure out how to stretch $73 into rent money, that she was terrified every single day that she would fail her daughter, that one mistake would bring their careful life crashing down. "There's a company meeting at 10, Tom said. "Some employee appreciation thing. The CEO's going to tour all the floors, shake some hands, pretend he knows our names." Elena's heart stumbled. "Harrison Croft is coming here, to the mail room. Apparently, he wants to connect with the real backbone of the company," Tom said, making air quotes. "Should be good for a laugh. Maybe he'll give us all bonuses." "When was this announced?" Elena asked, her voice strange even to her own ears. "Yesterday. Didn't you get the email?" She had not. She made a point of never reading company emails that did not directly relate to her work. The less she knew about Harrison Croft and his world, the easier it was to pretend he was just a name and not the man who still appeared in her dreams. who had given her Lily's eyes and then vanished like morning fog. I should check the schedule, Elena said, already backing toward the break room. I'll be right back. In the safety of the empty room, Elena pressed her palms against the cool wall and forced herself to breathe. 9 years. She had successfully avoided him for 9 years. She could avoid him for one morning. She would sort mail in the back. She would volunteer to handle deliveries on other floors. She would do whatever it took to make sure Harrison Croft walked through that mailroom without ever knowing she existed, without ever discovering that his past had been working 3 floors below him for nearly 3 years, without ever learning about Lily. Because what would she even say? Hello, remember me? Remember that week in Portland 9 years ago when you said I was the most beautiful thing you had ever seen? Well, surprise, you have a daughter. Her name is Lily. She loves butterflies and drawing and stories with happy endings. She asks about her father sometimes, and I tell her he had to go away for important work, and she nods like she understands. But I can see the hole in her heart shaped exactly like you. No, 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 no. Elena had made her choice 9 years ago when she saw his face on the news, when she realized he had become someone unreachable, when she understood that contacting him would make her look like exactly what her pride could not bear, a woman trying to trap a rich man with a convenient pregnancy. She had chosen to do this alone, and alone she would remain. Her phone buzzed. A number she did not recognize. Hello? Elena, Carmen's voice, tight with something that might have been pain. Mija, I need you to listen to me carefully. The call came at 6:17 in the morning, shattering the careful routine Elena had built like a rock through glass. I'm at the hospital, Carmen said, her voice thin and frightened in a way Elena had never heard before. They're saying it might be my heart. I'm so sorry, Mija. I know you need me today, but I can't watch Lily. I can't. Don't apologize, Elena said, already running through options in her mind, each one dissolving before it fully formed. Are you okay? What hospital? I'll come right now. No, you have work. They're just keeping me for tests, observation. It's probably nothing, but... Carmen's voice cracked. Who will watch Lily? Elena's neighbor, Mrs. Chen, traveled on Tuesdays. The church daycare required 24 hours notice. The emergency babysitting service cost $300 for a full day. Money Elena did not have and could not borrow because she had nothing left to borrow against. I'll figure it out, Elena said, the lie tasting bitter. You just focus on getting better. I love you. I love you too, Mija. I'm so sorry. Elena ended the call and stood in her tiny kitchen, surrounded by the evidence of a life held together with determination and prayer. Lily's drawings covered the refrigerator. A calendar with shifts and payment dates marked in different colors hung on the wall. The bills waited in their drawer, patient and inevitable. She had 3 hours before her shift started. 3 hours to find someone, anyone, who could watch an 8-year-old girl while her mother sorted mail in a building that cost more than Elena would earn in a lifetime. She called everyone she could think of. Former co-workers from her waitressing days, acquaintances from Lily's school, the mother of Lily's friend Emma. Every single call ended the same way. So sorry. Wish I could help. Maybe next time. By 7:30, Elena had run out of options and time. Mama! Lily appeared in the doorway, already dressed for school, her backpack slung over one shoulder. Is Aunt Carmen okay? Elena pulled her daughter close, breathed in strawberry shampoo and innocence, and made a decision that would change 3 lives forever. She's going to be fine, Elena said, but she can't watch you today, so you're going to come to work with me. Lily's eyes went wide. Really? I can see where you work. Yes, but listen carefully, sweetheart. This is very, very important. Elena knelt down, held Lily's face in both hands. You have to promise me you'll be completely quiet. You'll stay exactly where I put you. You won't wander around or talk to anyone. Can you promise me that? Like a mouse, Lily said solemnly. I'll be invisible, Mama. I promise. Elena wanted to believe her. Lily was a good child, obedient and careful, but she was also 8 years old, and 8-year-olds got curious. 8-year-olds wandered. But what choice did she have? She called Tom, her supervisor, before his shift started, explained the emergency, heard the hesitation in his voice, the policy he was supposed to follow, and then the kindness that overruled it. "Third floor, storage room C," Tom said quietly. "It's unused, been locked for months. I'll leave it open, but Eleanor, she has to stay hidden. If management finds out, I can't protect you. And there's something else. The CEO tour. It's been moved up. He's coming today, this morning." Elena's blood turned to ice. "Today? I just got the email, 9 o'clock. I'm sorry. If you can keep her out of sight until lunch, I'll help you get her to the community center program. But you need to be extra careful. The tour includes all floors, even storage areas. She should call in sick. She should take the write-up, risk the job, put Lily first the way she always did. But rent was due in 3 days. If she lost this job, she lost everything. I'll keep her hidden, Elena said. Thank you, Tom. Good luck, he said, and hung up. Elena looked at her daughter, who was pulling out her tablet and coloring books, already preparing for an adventure. Lily had no idea they were balancing on the edge of disaster. She had no idea that somewhere in the building they were about to enter, her father existed, unreachable as a star. "Ready, baby?" Elena asked, forcing brightness into her voice. "Ready," Lily said, taking her mother's hand. They rode the subway in silence, Lily pressed against Elena's side. The morning commuters ignored them, everyone lost in their own worlds. Elena held her daughter close and prayed to a God she was no longer sure, listened that this one day would pass without discovery, without consequence, without the past finally catching up to the present she had so carefully constructed. Croft Holdings rose before them, glass and steel reflecting the morning sun. Elena had never hated a building before, but in that moment, she hated this one. Hated its size and its wealth, and the man who lived at the top of it, unreachable and unknowing. They used the service entrance. The security guard, Rosa, smiled at them. "Bringing your daughter to work, Elena?" "Emergency," Elena said. "Just for a few hours." Rosa looked at Lily, then back at Elena, understanding in her dark eyes. "I didn't see anything," she said quietly. "Storage room C, right." Word traveled fast among the people who actually ran the building, the ones management never saw. "Thank you," Eleanor whispered. They took the service elevator to the 3rd floor. The storage room was exactly as Tom described, forgotten, dusty, but safe. Elena set up Lily's corner with everything an 8-year-old might need, tablet with downloaded movies, coloring books, snacks, water, her favorite stuffed rabbit. "Remember," Elena said, kneeling down one more time, "no noise, no leaving this room. I'll check on you every hour. Just today, baby, just today." "I know, Mama," Lily said, already settling in. "Don't worry, I'll be good." Elena kissed her daughter's forehead, memorizing the feeling in case this was the last peaceful moment they had. Then she closed the door, locked it from the outside so Lily could not accidentally wander, and went to the mailroom to sort packages while her heart stayed 3 rooms away. At 8:55, Tom appeared at her station. "He's early," he said. "CEO just arrived. They're starting on the top floors and working down, maybe an hour before he gets here." "Okay," Elena said, though nothing was okay. "Elena," Tom touched her arm gently. "You're pale. Breathe." She tried. She really tried, but all she could think about was Lily, alone in that storage room, and Harrison somewhere above them, moving closer with every minute, the past and present on a collision course, and Elena stood between them with nothing but hope and prayer. At 9:23, her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "This is Rosa from security. Just saw CEO group heading to third floor. Be ready. Elena's hands shook so badly she nearly dropped the package she was holding. She moved to the back of the mailroom, tried to make herself small and invisible, prayed that 9 years had changed her enough that even if he looked directly at her, he would see nothing but another worker in company uniform. She heard them before she saw them, voices in the hallway, Tom's nervous welcome, the CEO's deep reply. And then Harrison Croft walked into the mailroom, and Elena forgot how to breathe. He looked exactly the same and completely different. Taller, maybe. Or perhaps that was just confidence and expensive tailoring. His dark hair touched with grey at the temples, his face harder, all the softness carved away by success and time. But his eyes were the same. Green-grey like stormwater, like their daughter's eyes. Elena turned away, focused on the packages in front of her, counted her heartbeats like she was counting seconds until disaster. 1, 2, 3. "And this is our mailroom," Tom was saying, his voice carrying across the space. "The heart of our distribution system. These folks make sure everything gets where it needs to go." "Impressive operation," Harrison said, and Elena's entire body reacted to his voice after 9 years of silence. "I appreciate the efficiency." He was moving through the room, shaking hands, making eye contact, being exactly the kind of CEO who pretended to care about the people beneath him. "Don't look at me," Elena thought desperately. "Don't see me. Let 9 years be enough." He moved past her station. She felt the displacement of air, caught the scent of expensive cologne, and kept her head down. "And you are?" Harrison said, not to her, to Tom, to someone else. Anyone else? Elena risked a glance up. He was looking at the sorting machine, at the efficiency metrics Tom was proudly explaining. He had walked right past her, and her camouflage had held. Relief made her dizzy. And then, from somewhere down the hallway, came a sound that turned Elena's blood to ice. A door opening. Small footsteps. A child's voice, bright with curiosity. "Mama!" Time fractured into 1,000 crystalline pieces. Elena moved without thinking, abandoning her station, running toward the sound of her daughter's voice while behind her, Tom called out something she could not hear over the roaring in her ears. Lily stood in the hallway, clutching her stuffed rabbit, looking small and uncertain. Her eyes found Elena's face and brightened with relief. "I'm sorry, Mama," Lily said as Elena reached her. "I heard noises, and I wanted to make sure you were okay, and I tried to be quiet. But the door wasn't locked anymore, and it's okay, baby. It's okay." Eleanor pulled Lily close, her mind racing through options. Get her back to the storage room. Explain later. Tom would cover for her. It would be fine. "Is everything all right?" The voice behind them made Elena freeze. She turned slowly, Lily still in her arms, and found herself face to face with Harrison Croft for the first time in 9 years. His eyes were exactly as she remembered, green-grey and devastating. Right now, they were confused, concerned, moving from Elena to the child in her arms. "I apologize," Harrison said to the group behind him. "Give me a moment." The assistants and executives backed away, leaving them in a bubble of terrible privacy. Harrison looked at Elena, really looked, and she watched recognition move across his face like dawn breaking. His eyes widened, his mouth opened. No sound came out. "Elena," he finally whispered. She could not speak, could not move, could only stand there holding Lily while 9 years of careful distance collapsed in a single moment. And then Lily, brave and curious and completely unaware of the world breaking apart around them, looked up at the tall man with the nice suit and asked the question that would change everything. "Excuse me, mister," Lily said politely. "Are you my mama's boss?" Harrison's eyes moved to Lily properly for the first time. Elena watched him take in her daughter's face, her features, searching for some explanation for why this child felt important. And then his gaze landed on Lily's eyes, green-grey, stormwater, exactly like his own. The color drained from Harrison's face. He swayed slightly, reached out to steady himself against the wall. His mouth worked silently, doing math, counting back years, understanding crashing over him in waves. "How old?" His voice cracked. He tried again. "How old are you, sweetheart?" "8, Lily said proudly. "I'll be 9 in May. May. 9 years ago." Harrison's eyes found Elena's, and in them she saw shock, betrayal, wonder, rage, joy, devastation, everything all at once. "Elena," he said again, her name a question and an accusation and a prayer all at once. "I can explain," she whispered, knowing nothing she said would be enough. "You." He looked at Lily again, at the undeniable evidence of connection. "She's—" He could not finish the sentence. Did not need to. Lily, sensing tension but not understanding it, pressed closer to Elena. "Mama, who is this man?" Elena opened her mouth, but no words came. What could she possibly say? How do you explain 9 years of silence in front of an audience of executives and assistants who were trying very hard to pretend they were not listening to every word? Harrison took a step closer. His hands were shaking. His entire body was shaking. "I need to speak with you," he said, his voice barely controlled. "Privately, now." It was not a request. "Tom," Harrison said, not taking his eyes off Elena, "cancel the rest of the tour, clear my schedule, and someone find somewhere safe for the child, somewhere comfortable." "I'm not leaving my daughter," Elena said, finding her voice at last. "I'm not asking you to leave her," Harrison said, and something in his tone made Elena look at him again. Beneath the shock, beneath the barely controlled chaos, she saw something that looked like desperate hope. "I'm asking you to let me meet her, properly, and then you and I are going to talk about why I have an 8-year-old daughter I knew nothing about." His voice broke on the last word. Around them, the mailroom had gone completely silent. Everyone watched, waited, witnessing the moment when two lives that had run parallel for 9 years finally, inevitably, crashed together. "Mama?" Lily asked, confused and a little frightened now. "What's happening?" Elena looked at her daughter, then at Harrison, then at the future she had spent 9 years trying to avoid and could no longer escape. "Come on, baby," she said quietly, taking Lily's hand. "There's someone I need you to meet." Harrison's office was on the 42nd floor, at the top of the world Elena had spent years avoiding. The elevator ride passed in terrible silence. Lily between them, sensing the tension but unable to name it. Harrison's assistant, a nervous young man, had found a small conference room adjacent to the main office and filled it with things an 8-year-old might like. Coloring books, juice boxes, a tablet already loaded with games. "Lily," Elena said, kneeling down to her daughter's level, "I need you to wait here for just a few minutes while I talk to this man. Can you do that for me?" "Is he going to fire you?" Lily whispered, eyes wide. "No," Harrison said, his voice rough. "No, I'm not going to fire your mother." Lily looked at him with those eyes, his eyes, and Harrison made a sound like he had been punched. "Okay," Lily said uncertainly. "I'll wait here." Elena kissed her daughter's forehead, then followed Harrison into his office. The door closed behind them with a quiet click, and suddenly they were alone for the first time in 9 years. Harrison stood with his back to her, looking out the window at a city spread below him like a kingdom. His shoulders were rigid. His hands were pressed flat against the glass. "Harrison," Eleanor started. "Don't." His voice was ice. "Don't say anything yet. I need a minute to... He turned around, and Eleanor saw that his eyes were wet. 8 years old, he said. "She's 8 years old. Eleanor. 9 years ago was... Portland," Eleanor said quietly. "That week in August. You were pregnant." The words came out broken. "You found out you were pregnant and you never told me. For 9 years you never told me I had a daughter." "You left," Elena said, her own voice breaking. You said you would call and you never did. I saw your face on the news, saw you building an empire, and I thought, you thought what? That I wouldn't want to know, that I wouldn't want her. Harrison's control shattered. Elena, I loved you. That week we had, I loved you so much I could barely breathe. I was terrified. I was leaving for the biggest opportunity of my life, and all I wanted was to stay with you. I meant to call. Every single day for the first week, I meant to call. And then the company crisis hit, and days became weeks, and I convinced myself you had moved on, that someone like you wouldn't wait for someone like me. Someone like me. Elena's voice rose. You became a millionaire, Harrison, a CEO. You were in magazines, on television, and I was waiting tables, pregnant and alone, trying to figure out how to raise a baby by myself. How was I supposed to contact you? Show up at your office and say, surprise, remember that waitress from Portland? Well, guess what? You're a father now. Yes, Harrison shouted, then lowered his voice with visible effort. Yes, Elena, that's exactly what you should have done, because she's my daughter too. She's... He stopped, pressed his hands over his face. When he looked up again, tears tracked down his cheeks. What's her name? Lily. Lily Rose Rojas, not Croft. You weren't there. The words hung between them, sharp and true and unforgivable. I didn't know, Harrison said, his voice breaking completely. How could I be there when I didn't know? And whose fault is that? Elena shot back, then immediately regretted it. This was not about fault. This was about a little girl in the next room who deserved better than two adults shouting at each other about things that could not be changed. Mine, Harrison said quietly. My fault. I should have called. I should have come back. I should have been brave enough to fight for what I wanted instead of assuming I had already lost it. He walked to his desk, pulled open a drawer, and removed something. When he turned back, he was holding a photograph. Elena recognized it immediately, the picture from that week. Young Elena laughing at something he had said. She did not even know he had taken it. I've carried this for 9 years, Harrison said. Every single day. The last time I was happy, the last time I was me. And all this time, you were 3 floors below me, you and my daughter. How long have you worked here? 2 years and 9 months. Harrison made a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. 2 years and 9 months. We've been in the same building for 2 years and 9 months, and I never knew. I walked right past the woman He stopped. I walked right past you. I had a daughter growing up without me, and I didn't even know she existed. I'm sorry, Elena whispered. I know you probably don't believe me, but I am sorry. I was scared. I was proud. I was stupid, but I was trying to do what was best for her. By keeping me away? By giving her a life that wasn't built on guilt or obligation or pity. Pity. Harrison's voice went dangerous. You think I would have pitied you? I think you would have married me because you thought you should. I think you would have given up everything you wanted out of obligation. And I think eventually you would have resented us both. You don't know that, don't I? I watched my mother stay in a marriage with a man who resented every penny he spent on us, every moment he had to be a father instead of free. I grew up hearing him say he sacrificed his dreams for a family he never wanted. I swore I would never be the woman who trapped a man that way. So instead, you took away my choice entirely. Elena had no answer to that, because he was right. Whatever her reasons, whatever her fears, she had made a decision that affected 3 lives, and she had made it alone. She's perfect, Harrison said, his voice breaking again. I looked at her, and I saw, Elena, she has my eyes. I know. She has my eyes, and your smile, and she's perfect, and I've missed 8 years of her life. Her first word, her first steps, her first day of school, everything. You took all of that from me. I know. Elena said again, tears finally falling. I know, Harrison, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They stood in that expensive office with its view of the world, two people who had loved each other once and made a child, and then spent 9 years apart, and there was nothing either of them could say that would make any of it right. I need a paternity test, Harrison said finally, his voice flat. Elena flinched. You doubt she's yours? No. I just need legal documentation for custody arrangements, for inheritance rights, for... He ran a hand through his hair. I need lawyers, Elena. I need paperwork. I need to figure out how to be a father to a child who doesn't even know I exist. Don't, Elena said sharply. Don't you dare turn my daughter into a legal problem to be solved. Our daughter. Don't turn our daughter into paperwork and lawyers and business arrangements. She's a little girl, Harrison. She's not a corporate merger. I know that. But even as he said it, she could see his mind working, categorizing, solving, treating this like a problem that could be fixed with enough resources. I should go, Elena said, moving toward the door. This was a mistake. I never should have... Wait. Harrison's hand shot out, caught her arm, not restraining, just touching. The first time they had touched in 9 years. Please, don't run again. I need time to process this. Can you give me that? Can you give me a chance to figure out how to be what she needs? Elena looked at his hand on her arm, then up at his face. She saw fear there, and anger, and hope, and something else. Something that looked like the boy who had held her on a Portland Street corner and promised he would call every day. 72 hours, Elena said. The paternity test will take 72 hours. We'll talk after that. But Harrison, I need you to promise me something. Anything. Whatever happens between us, whatever anger you have, don't take it out on Lily. She didn't ask for any of this. She's innocent. I know, Harrison said, and now his voice was gentle. Elena, I would never. She's my daughter. I just found out I have a daughter. I'm angry, yes. I'm devastated that I missed so much, but I could never be angry at her. Never. Elena studied his face, looking for lies, finding only raw truth. Okay, she said. 72 hours. We'll figure out what comes next. She pulled her arm free and walked toward the door, but before she could open it, Harrison spoke again. Elena, that week in Portland, I meant every word I said. I just wanted you to know that. She did not turn around, could not turn around. If she looked at him now, she would shatter. So did I, she whispered, and left before he could see her cry. 3 days passed like years. Elena had taken Lily home that afternoon, explaining nothing and everything in the careful way mothers do when their children are too young for the whole truth, but too smart to be fooled by lies. That man is someone Mama knew a long time ago, she had said, tucking Lily into bed that night. Someone important. Is he my daddy? Lily had asked, those green-grey eyes seeing straight through every careful word. Elena's throat had closed. She could not lie. Not about this. Not anymore. Yes, she had whispered. Yes, baby. He is. Lily had gone very quiet, processing this information with the gravity of someone much older. Finally, she had asked, does he know about me? He does now. Is he mad? No, sweetheart, he's not mad. He's surprised, but not mad. Lily had fallen asleep, holding Eleanor's hand, and Elena had stayed there until dawn, watching her daughter's chest rise and fall, wondering what she had set in motion and whether there was any way to protect Lily from the inevitable pain of disappointment. On the second day, a courier arrived with papers, consent forms for a paternity test, a letter from Harrison's attorney, formal and cold, outlining next steps, and a handwritten note on expensive stationery. I'm sorry this has to be done this way, but I need legal documentation for Lily's protection as much as mine. Please bring her to Dr. Chen's office tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'll be there. Shh. Elena had stared at that note for an hour, looking for warmth in the formal words, finding none. This was the Harrison who ran empires, not the boy who had held her in Portland and promised forever. Carmen, released from the hospital with instructions to reduce stress and take it easy, had sat with Elena that evening while Lily slept. "You have to tell me everything," Carmen had said gently. "All of it." So Elena had. The week in Portland. The way Harrison had looked at her like she was something precious. The promises made at the train station. The silence that followed. The pregnancy test. The decision to raise Lily alone. 9 years of careful distance, all destroyed in a single moment. "You should have told him," Carmen said, but her voice was kind, not judging. "But I understand why you didn't. Misha, pride is expensive. Sometimes it costs us everything." "What do I do now?" Elena had asked, feeling like a child herself. "You let him be a father," Carmen said, "and you figure out if there's anything left of what you once had. For Lily's sake. For your sake. I can't love him again, Carmen. I can't let myself—" "Can't? Or are you already afraid it's too late to stop?" Elena had no answer to that. Now, on the third day, she stood outside Dr. Chen's office with Lily's hand in hers, watching an expensive black car pull up to the curb. Harrison emerged, and even from a distance, Elena could see the tension in his shoulders, the exhaustion around his eyes. He had not slept, she thought. Neither had she. "Ready?" she asked Lily, who nodded solemnly. They met at the entrance. Harrison looked at Lily with such naked longing that Elena's heart cracked. "Hello, Lily," he said, his voice soft. "Do you remember me?" "You're my daddy," Lily said simply. "Mama told me." Harrison's eyes closed briefly. When they opened again, they were wet. "Yes," he said. "I am, and I'm so very happy to meet you. Properly, I mean." "Mama says we have to do a test," Lily said. "So you can be sure I'm really yours, but I already know I am. I have your eyes." Harrison made a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. "You do. You have my eyes and your mother's smile, and I'm very glad you're mine, Lily." The test took 15 minutes, a simple cheek swab, painless and quick. Dr. Chen, a kind woman in her 60s, chatted with Lily about school and butterflies, making it all feel normal instead of like the moment that would legally bind 3 lives together. "Results in 72 hours, Dr. Chen said, as they prepared to leave. "But between us, I don't think there's any doubt." In the parking lot, Harrison hesitated, clearly wanting to say something. Elena waited, Lily pressed against her side. "Can I—" Harrison cleared his throat. "Can I see her again, before the results come back? I know we need to wait for legal confirmation, but I'd like to spend time with her. With you both, if that's all right." Elena wanted to say no, wanted to protect herself and Lily from the inevitable complications. But when she looked down at her daughter's face and saw hope there, bright and fragile, she could not be the one to extinguish it. "Saturday," she said. "There's a park near our apartment. We go there most weekends. You could meet us there, 2 o'clock. "Thank you," Harrison said, and the gratitude in his voice was overwhelming. "Elena, thank you." She nodded, unable to speak, and led Lily away before the tears could fall. Saturday arrived, wrapped in golden autumn light. Elena dressed carefully, telling herself it did not matter what she wore, knowing it was a lie. Lily had insisted on her favorite dress, the blue one with flowers, and had spent an hour drawing a picture to give to her father. "Do you think he'll like it?" she asked, showing Elena a crayon drawing of 3 stick figures holding hands. Elena's vision blurred. "He'll love it, baby." They arrived at the park early. Elena spread a blanket under an oak tree and tried not to watch the path, tried not to count the minutes until 2 o'clock. Harrison arrived exactly on time, carrying flowers for Elena and a small wrapped box for Lily. He looked different out of his suit, dressed in jeans and a simple sweater that made him look younger, more like the man she had known. "Hi," he said, suddenly shy. I didn't know what 8-year-olds like, so I guessed, I hope it's okay." Lily unwrapped the box carefully. Inside was a book about butterflies, beautiful and detailed. "It's perfect," she breathed. "Thank you, Dad." The word Dad hit Harrison like a physical blow. Elena watched him struggle to compose himself, watched him fail, watched him wipe at his eyes unself-consciously. "You're welcome, sweetheart," he managed. They sat on the blanket, the three of them, and for the first time in 9 years, they existed together as something that might, someday, become a family. Harrison asked Lily questions, careful, genuine questions that showed he truly wanted to know her. What was her favorite subject in school? Did she have friends? What did she want to be when she grew up? And Lily, who had gone from shy to curious to trusting with startling speed, answered everything, punctuating her stories with demonstrations and laughter. Elena watched, her heart doing complicated things in her chest. This was Harrison at his best, giving someone his complete attention, making them feel like the most important person in the world. It was what had made her fall in love with him 9 years ago. It was what terrified her now. When Lily ran off to feed the ducks, Harrison and Elena sat in careful silence, not quite looking at each other. "She's remarkable," Harrison said finally. "Elena, you've raised someone absolutely remarkable." "She's easy to love," Elena said. "I'm beginning to understand that." He paused. Then, "I've been thinking, these past few days, about what comes next. About what Lily needs, what you need." Something in his tone made Elena tense. "Harrison, I want to do this right," he continued, still looking at the ducks Lily was feeding. "I want to provide for her, for you both. I've spoken with my lawyers." "Stop," Elena said sharply. "Stop right there." He turned to her, confused. "What?" "Elena, I'm trying to help. I have resources. I can make sure Lily has everything she needs. The best schools, college funds, opportunities. She doesn't need your money, Harrison. She needs her father." "I can be both," he said, and she heard the defensiveness creeping into his voice. "Why is it wrong for me to want to provide for my daughter, to make up for the 8 years I missed?" "You can't buy back time," Elena said, keeping her voice low so Lily would not hear. "You can't write a check large enough to replace being there for her first word, her first step, her first day of school. I know that, but I can make sure her future is secure. That's what fathers do, Elena. They provide." "Is that what your father did?" The words came out harder than she meant, and she watched them land like a slap. Harrison's jaw tightened. "My father built an empire and left me nothing but expectations and debt. When he died, I inherited a failing company and the responsibility to save it. So yes, I know about providing. I know about sacrifice." "And is that what you want to teach Lily? That love is measured in dollar signs?" "That's not what I'm saying, and you know it." Harrison stood, frustration rolling off him in waves. "I'm trying to take care of my daughter. Why are you fighting me on this?" "Because I've seen this before," Elena said, standing to face him. "I watched my mother stay with a man who threw money at us instead of being present, who gave us things instead of time, who resented every penny he spent on a family he never really wanted. I won't let Lily grow up feeling like an obligation." "She's not an obligation," Harrison said, and now his voice was rising too. "She's my daughter, and you kept her from me. You made the choice to do this alone. Now I'm trying to make it right, and you won't let me." Lily had stopped feeding the ducks, was looking at them with wide, frightened eyes. Elena took a breath, forced calm into her voice. "You're right. I made the choice, and I'm sorry. But Harrison, Lily doesn't need a benefactor. She needs a father. There's a difference. Then tell me what to do, Harrison said, and suddenly he sounded lost. Tell me how to be what she needs, because I don't know. I don't have a manual for this. All I know is business. All I know is fixing problems with resources and strategy, and she's not a problem to fix, Elena said gently. She's a little girl who wants to know if her father will show up. That's all. Just show up. They stood there, inches apart, years of hurt and fear between them. Lily approached slowly, took both their hands. Are you fighting about me? She asked in a small voice. No, baby, Elena said immediately. We're just figuring things out. Grown-ups fight when they're figuring things out, Lily said with the wisdom of a child who had seen too much. It's okay, but please don't be mad at each other. I don't want anyone to be mad. Harrison knelt down, brought himself to Lily's eye level. I'm not mad at your mama, he said, and I'm not mad at you. I'm learning how to be a dad. I'm not very good at it yet, but I promise I'm going to try. That's what Mama says matters most, Lily said. Trying. Your mama is very wise, Harrison said, and when his eyes found Eleanor's over Lily's head, there was something in them that made her breath catch. The afternoon ended with promises to meet again, to take things slow, to figure it out together. Harrison hugged Lily goodbye, a careful, tender embrace that made Elena's throat tight. And then, as Elena turned to leave, he caught her hand. I meant what I said in my office, Harrison said quietly. In Portland, I meant every word. I need you to know that. Elena pulled her hand away, gently but firmly. That was 9 years ago, Harrison. We're different people now. Are we? He asked. Or did we just forget who we were? She had no answer to that, so she took Lily's hand and walked away, feeling his eyes on her back the whole way. That night, after Lily was asleep, Elena's phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. She almost deleted it. Almost. Thank you for today, for letting me be part of her life. For everything you've sacrificed alone, you're remarkable, Elena. You always were. I know I don't have the right, but I need you to know I never forgot, not for a single day. That week we had, it was real. It was the last time I was happy. Elena read the message 3 times. Then she typed and deleted a dozen responses before finally settling on, it was real for me too, but real isn't always enough. Let's focus on Lily. That's what matters now. She sent it before she could change her mind, turned off her phone, lay in the darkness and tried not to remember the way his hand had felt in hers, tried not to wonder if the love she had buried 9 years ago had ever really died, or if it had simply been waiting, patient and inevitable, for this moment. Across the city, Harrison stared at her response until the words blurred. Let's focus on Lily, she had written. Not, there's nothing left. Not, don't contact me. Just, focus on Lily. It was not a door slamming shut. It was a door left slightly open, and Harrison, who had built an empire on reading between lines and taking calculated risks, saw it for what it was. A chance. Maybe the last chance he would ever get. He pulled out his laptop and began to research 8-year-olds, custody arrangements, co-parenting strategies, how to be a father when you had no idea where to start. And somewhere around midnight, he opened a new document and began to type. A list. Things to do. Ways to fix this, because that was what Harrison Croft did. He fixed things. By dawn, he had a plan. It was comprehensive, strategic, perfect. It was also, though he did not know it yet, exactly the wrong approach. 5 days later, Elena received a call from Harrison's assistant requesting a meeting. Mr. Croft would like to discuss arrangements regarding Lily, the assistant said in a voice that was all professional efficiency. Would Thursday at 9 a.m. work for you? Elena's stomach dropped. What kind of arrangements? He didn't specify, he just asked me to schedule a meeting at the office. He said to tell you he's received the paternity test results. Of course, the test results. 99.99% probability of paternity. Not that there had ever been any doubt. But now it was official. Legal. Harrison Croft had a daughter, and Elena supposed that meant lawyers and paperwork and everything she had been dreading. "Fine," she said. "Thursday at 9. She almost hung up, but the assistant added, "He also asked me to arrange for someone to watch Lily during the meeting. We have childcare services available in the building if—" "No," Elena said quickly. "My aunt will watch her." "Thank you." She did not want Lily anywhere near Croft Holdings when whatever was about to happen, happened. Thursday morning arrived with rain that matched Elena's mood. She left Lily with Carmen, who gave her a long, searching look, but asked no questions. "Call me if you need me," Carmen said, "for anything." Elena took the subway to Croft Holdings, that familiar tower of glass and steel. But this time, she did not use the service entrance. She went through the front doors like a visitor, gave her name to security, and was directed to the executive elevators, 42nd floor. The elevator ride felt like ascending to another world. Each floor that passed was a reminder of the distance between her life and Harrison's. By the time the doors opened, Elena felt small and out of place in her carefully chosen dress, her only nice shoes. Harrison's assistant, the nervous young man from before, greeted her with a professional smile. "Mrs. Rojas, Mr. Croft is ready for you. Conference room 2. Conference room, not office. That should have been her first warning. She followed him down a hallway lined with modern art and floor-to-ceiling windows. The conference room was enormous, with a table that could seat 20. At one end sat Harrison, and arrayed around him like an army were 5 other people. Men and women in expensive suits, leather portfolios open in front of them. Lawyers. He had brought lawyers. "Elena," Harrison said, standing as she entered. "Thank you for coming. Please, sit down. Can I get you anything? Coffee? Water?" "What is this?" Elena asked, not moving from the doorway. "This is us figuring out what comes next," Harrison said, gesturing to an empty chair. "Please, sit." Elena sat because her knees were suddenly weak. Across from her, a woman with severe glasses and sharper features opened a portfolio. "Ms. Rojas," the woman said, her voice clipped and professional. "I'm Jennifer Walsh, Mr. Croft's family attorney. We've prepared some documents for your review regarding custody arrangements, child support, and financial planning for Lily's future." She slid a stack of papers across the table. Elena stared at them like they might bite. "First," Jennifer continued, "we'll need to formalize the paternity test results. Mr. Croft is prepared to acknowledge paternity and assume all associated responsibilities. We're proposing a joint custody arrangement with primary residence remaining with you pending further evaluation." "Evaluation?" Eleanor's voice came out strangled. "Standard procedure," Jennifer said smoothly. "Home visits, background checks, psychological assessments, nothing invasive. Just making sure we're creating the best environment for Lily. You want to evaluate whether I'm a fit mother?" Eleanor's hands curled into fists. "I've been her mother for 8 years. Where were you then?" "This isn't an attack on your parenting," Harrison said quickly. "It's just, we need documentation for legal protection for both of us." "For child support," Jennifer continued, flipping pages. "Mr. Croft is prepared to provide $100,000 per month, backdated to Lily's birth. That's approximately $9.6 million in arrears, which will be paid in full within 30 days. The number was so absurd that Elena almost laughed. Almost $100,000 per month. Plus, another lawyer chimed in, a man with silver hair and a voice like gravel. "We're establishing a trust fund for Lily. $50 million, accessible when she turns 18, with provisions for education, healthcare, and emergency needs in the interim. We've also taken the liberty, Jennifer said, of researching private schools in the area. Harrison thinks Lily would thrive at— Stop, Elena said. The word came out quiet but landed like a bomb. Everyone at the table went silent. Stop talking. Elena, Harrison said. This is what's best for— Best for who? Elena stood up, the chair scraping loud against the floor. Best for Lily, or best for you? So you can check a box that says financially provided for daughter? So you can sleep at night knowing you've done your duty? That's not what this is, Harrison said, but his voice had gone defensive. Isn't it? Elena's voice rose. You have 5 lawyers in this room, Harrison. 5 people in expensive suits with documents and evaluations and trust funds, and not one of them has asked what Lily needs. Not one has asked what she wants. We're trying to secure her future, Jennifer said coolly. Surely you can see the benefit. Don't, Elena said, rounding on the lawyer. Don't you dare talk to me about what's best for my daughter. I've been giving her what's best for 8 years. Not money, not trust funds, love, time, presence. Things you can't put in a portfolio and present at a business meeting. She turned back to Harrison, who had gone pale. Is this what you think being a father means? Writing checks? Having your lawyers evaluate whether I'm raising her correctly? Throwing millions of dollars at a problem and calling it solved? I'm trying to help, Harrison said, and now there was anger in his voice too. I'm trying to make up for the time I lost, to give her advantages I never had. To control the situation, Elena said, and the truth of it rang clear in the suddenly silent room. You can't stand not knowing what to do, so you're doing what you're good at, treating my daughter, our daughter, like a corporate acquisition, like a problem to be solved with money and contracts and lawyers. That's not fair, Harrison said. Fair? Elena laughed, sharp and bitter. You want to talk about fair. You missed her birth because I was too proud to call you. You missed 8 years because I was afraid. I take responsibility for that, but now, when I'm giving you a chance to be her father, you show up with an army of lawyers and trust funds. You're trying to buy your way into her life instead of earning it. I'm securing her future, Harrison said, standing now too. I'm making sure she never has to worry about money, never has to struggle the way you did. How is that wrong? Because she needs her father, not a benefactor. Elena's voice cracked. She needs someone who will show up to her school plays and teach her to ride a bike and hold her when she has nightmares. She needs time, Harrison. Your time, not your money. I can give her both, Harrison said. No, Elena said, grabbing her bag. You can't, because if you're working this hard to control how you're a father, you'll never just be one. And I won't let Lily grow up feeling like a line item in your financial portfolio. You're being unreasonable, Jennifer said, but Harrison held up a hand to silence her. Elena, please, Harrison said, and there was something desperate in his voice now. Don't walk away. We can work this out. I'll reduce the support amount. We'll skip the evaluations. Just tell me what you want. I want you to stop treating her like a business transaction, Elena said, tears finally falling. I want you to remember that little girl in the park who just wanted to feed ducks with her father. That's what she needs. Not this, never this. She moved toward the door, but Harrison stepped in front of her. You can't just leave. We need to finalize these arrangements. Lily has rights. I have rights. Rights. Elena's voice went cold. You want to talk about rights? Fine. You have the right to know your daughter. You have the right to spend time with her, to build a relationship with her, but you don't have the right to remake her life to fit your corporate vision. You don't have the right to evaluate whether I'm good enough when I've been good enough for 8 years. I never said you weren't good enough, Harrison said, frustration bleeding into anger. I'm trying to give her more. How is that? Because she doesn't need more. Elena shouted, and she did not care that 5 lawyers were witnessing this, did not care that she was making a scene in the most expensive office she had ever been in. She needs you, just you, not your money, not your lawyers, you. And if you can't understand that, if you really think love is something you can buy, then maybe I was right to keep her from you. The words hung in the air like poison. Harrison's face went white, then red. "You don't mean that, don't I?" Elena said, and her heart was breaking, but her voice was steady. "Tell me, Harrison, when you look at Lily, what do you see? A daughter you want to know, or a problem you need to solve?" He did not answer, could not answer, and in that silence, Elena had her truth. "When you figure out the answer," she said quietly, "when you decide whether you want to be a father or a CEO, you know where we are, but don't come with your checkbook, Harrison. Don't come with lawyers and trust funds and evaluation forms. She doesn't need your empire. She needs her dad." She walked past him, past the lawyers with their shocked faces and open portfolios, past the assistant in the hallway, into the elevator that carried her down, down, down from that tower of glass and steel, back to the ground where real life happened, where love was not measured in millions, but in moments. She made it to the subway before she started sobbing, made it home before the full weight of what she had done crashed down on her. She had given him a chance, and he had brought lawyers. She had opened a door, and he had tried to buy his way through it. And Carmen found her curled on the couch hours later, Lily at school, safe from the wreckage of adult mistakes. "Mija," Carmen said, sitting beside her. "Tell me." Elena told her, about the lawyers and the money and the evaluation and the look on Harrison's face when she walked out. "I thought maybe," Elena whispered, "I thought maybe he had changed, that he was the man from Portland, not the CEO. But he tried to fix it with money, Carmen. Like she's a problem. Like I'm a problem. And what did you do?" "I told him not to come back unless he could be a father instead of a benefactor. I told him..." Elena's voice broke. "I told him maybe I was right to keep her from him." Carmen was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Was that for Lily or for you?" Elena looked up, surprised. "What?" "That last part, about keeping her from him. Was that about protecting Lily, or was it about protecting yourself from getting hurt again?" Elena had no answer. Carmen patted her hand and went to start dinner, leaving Elena alone with a question she did not want to face. Because maybe Carmen was right. Maybe in that moment, when Harrison's approach felt like rejection of everything she had done alone, when his money felt like an insult to her years of sacrifice, maybe she had not been protecting Lily at all. Maybe she had been protecting her own heart from breaking again. Her phone buzzed. A message from Harrison. "You're right. About everything. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do this. But I want to learn. Please don't give up on me. On us. H." Elena stared at the message until the screen went dark. Then she set the phone down and went to pick up Lily from school, because whatever chaos existed between the adults, her daughter still needed dinner and homework help and bedtime stories. And tomorrow, somehow, they would all figure out what came next. 7 days passed. 7 days of silence. Elena did not call Harrison. Harrison did not call Elena. And in that silence, both of them suffered separately, neither knowing the other was drowning too. Lily asked about her father every day. "When can I see him again?" she asked at breakfast. "Is he mad at me?" she asked at bedtime. "Did I do something wrong?" "No, baby," Elena said each time, her heart breaking a little more. "You didn't do anything wrong. The grown-ups are just figuring things out." But Elena could see the light dimming in Lily's eyes with each passing day. Could see her daughter beginning to believe that fathers were temporary, that even when they showed up, they left again. On the 4th day, Lily drew a picture at school. Her teacher, Mrs. Anderson, called Elena in for a brief conference. "I wanted you to see this," she said gently, showing Elena a crayon drawing. It was a family, Mama and Lily, holding hands, and off to the side, separated by space and what looked like rain, a figure labeled Dad with a question mark. She said her father came back, but then left again. Mrs. Anderson said carefully, "Is everything okay at home, Elena?" "It's complicated," Elena said, which was all she could manage. "If you need resources," Mrs. Anderson started, but Elena shook her head. "We're okay. We've always been okay, just us." But even as she said it, she knew it was not entirely true anymore, because Lily had tasted having a father, and now she wanted what every child wanted, a family that was whole. Carmen watched Elena withdraw into herself, watched her throw herself into work and motherhood with renewed intensity, as if by being busy enough she could outrun the grief of letting Harrison go again. "You should call him," Carmen said on the 6th day. "I have nothing to say," Elena replied, sorting mail with mechanical precision. She had returned to work the day after the disastrous meeting, had asked for extra shifts, anything to keep her hands and mind occupied. "You have everything to say," Carmen corrected. "Mija, pride is a cold companion. This isn't about pride," Elena said. "It's about not letting Lily think she's a problem to be solved. It's about teaching her that love isn't transactional." "And what are you teaching her now?" Carmen asked quietly. "By cutting him out completely, by punishing him for making a mistake." "He brought 5 lawyers, Carmen, 5, and $100,000 per month child support offer. That's not a mistake. That's who he is." "Is it? Or is it who he became when he was hurt and scared and didn't know what to do?" Elena had no answer to that. So she changed the subject and pretended the question did not follow her through every quiet moment. Harrison, meanwhile, spiraled in his own particular way. He went to work, sat through meetings, signed documents, made decisions that moved millions of dollars and affected thousands of lives, and felt nothing, accomplished nothing, meant nothing. His assistant noticed. His board noticed. His mother, in her weekly call, definitely noticed. "You're distracted," Margaret Croft said on the phone, her voice crisp with disapproval. "This situation with the child needs to be resolved so you can focus on what matters." "She has a name," Harrison said, and his voice was colder than his mother had ever heard it. "Her name is Lily. She's my daughter, and she matters more than anything else in my life." Margaret was silent for a moment. Then, "I see. And the mother?" "Elena," Harrison said. "Her name is Elena. And I ruined everything with her. Again." "Then fix it," Margaret said. And for once, her tone was not cutting, but almost kind. "You're my son. You've never failed at anything you set your mind to. So set your mind to this, to making it right." "I don't know how." "Then figure it out. That's what we Crofts do. We don't give up, even when we should." Harrison hung up and sat alone in his office, looking at the photo of young Elena that he had carried for 9 years. Looking at the second photo now framed on his desk, a printout from security footage of the day Lily appeared. His daughter, small and curious, wandering into a hallway that led to him. He had blown it. Brought lawyers when he should have brought flowers, offered money when he should have offered time, tried to control what he should have let unfold naturally, because that was what Harrison Croft did. He fixed problems. He created strategies. He used resources to achieve outcomes, except Lily was not a problem, and Elena was not an outcome. And he had treated them both as if they were business decisions instead of the 2 most important people in his world. On the 7th night, Harrison could not sleep. He went to his penthouse terrace and looked out at the city spread below him like a kingdom. He owned pieces of it, buildings, businesses, futures. But what did any of it mean if he was alone? He thought about Elena's words. "When you look at Lily, what do you see? A daughter you want to know, or a problem you need to solve?" He had not been able to answer then, But standing alone at 2 in the morning, with the weight of his empire pressing down on him, the answer came clear and devastating. He had seen both, and that was the problem. He went inside, sat at his computer, and did something he had never done before. He opened his webcam and hit record. "Hi, Lily," he said to the empty screen, his voice rough with exhaustion and emotion. "I'm your father, and I need to tell you, I'm sorry." He talked for 2 hours, about his regrets, about his fears, about the week in Portland with her mother, about how much he had loved Elena, about how he had let fear paralyze him until it was too late. "I tried to buy my way into your life," he said, tears tracking down his face without shame. "Because that's what I know how to do. That's what I'm good at. But your mother was right. You don't need my money. You need me. And I don't know how to be what you need, Lily. I don't know how to be a father. My own father wasn't present. He was successful, powerful, respected. But he wasn't there, and I swore I would be different. But when I had the chance, I became exactly like him." He stopped, wiped his eyes, looked at the camera like he was looking at his daughter. "I'm going to do better," he said. "I don't know how yet, but I promise you, I'm going to figure out how to be the father you deserve. Not the one with the most money or the biggest office, just present. That's what your mother said. Just show up. So I'm going to show up, Lily, every day. If your mother lets me. If she gives me another chance." He ended the recording and saved it, the first entry in what he decided would be a video diary for his daughter, a record of a man trying to learn how to love the way he should have from the beginning. Then he opened his email and began to type, "Elena, you were right about everything. I brought lawyers when I should have brought humility. I offered money when I should have offered time. I tried to fix a situation that didn't need fixing. It needed presence. Your presence, mine, together. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it, but I'm asking for another chance. One more chance to prove I can be a father instead of a CEO. I'll do it your way, your terms, whatever you need. Just please, don't give up on me. Don't let Lily give up on me. I know I let you down 9 years ago. I let you down again last week. But I swear to you, Elena, I will spend every day of the rest of my life proving I can do better, that I can be better, for her, for you, for us. Please, one more chance." He sent it before he could second-guess himself. Then he sat in his empty office and waited for dawn, waited for a response that might never come, waited for mercy he did not deserve but desperately hoped for. At 6:17 in the morning, his phone buzzed. Elena's response was short. "One chance, no lawyers, no money, just you. Saturday, same park, 2 p.m. Don't be late. And Harrison, don't make me regret this." Harrison read it 3 times, then pressed his palm against his chest, where his heart was doing strange, painful, hopeful things. One chance, one more chance. He would not waste it. Saturday arrived wrapped in uncertainty and hope. Harrison stood outside the ice cream shop 3 blocks from Elena's apartment, his hands sweating despite the October chill. He had arrived an hour early, spent 45 minutes walking in circles, and finally stopped here because he remembered Lily mentioning ice cream during their first park meeting. He went inside. A teenage girl behind the counter looked up from her phone. "Help you?" What's the most popular flavor for kids?" Harrison asked, feeling absurd. 8-year-olds specifically. The girl shrugged. "Chocolate, I guess, or strawberry." Harrison bought both, then added vanilla for good measure, stood on the sidewalk holding 3 cones that were already starting to melt, checking his watch every 30 seconds. 1:53. He was early, too early, but he could not make himself wait any longer. He walked to the park and found them already there. Elena on the same blanket, Lily feeding the ducks. His heart did something painful and wonderful at the sight. Lily saw him first. Her face lit up, then immediately clouded with caution. She looked at Elena, who nodded permission. Only then did Lily run toward him. "Dad," she said, stopping a few feet away, "you came back." "I'll always come back," Harrison said, kneeling down with the dripping ice cream cones. "I brought these for you. I didn't know which flavor you liked, so I got all of them." Lily's smile broke through like sun after rain. "Strawberry," she said. "Strawberry is my favorite." "Then strawberry it is," Harrison said, handing her the cone. "And I'll remember that, I promise." Elena approached slowly, her face unreadable. Harrison stood, offered her the chocolate cone. "Peace offering?" he asked quietly. "It's melting," she said, but she took it. Her fingers brushed his for just a moment, and the contact sent electricity through him. They sat on the blanket, the three of them, eating ice cream that dripped on their hands and stained their clothes. And Harrison, who had presided over boardrooms and negotiated million-dollar deals, had never felt more successful than in this moment. Watching his daughter laugh at a joke he made, sitting close enough to Elena to smell her shampoo. "I'm sorry," he said when Lily ran off to chase a butterfly, "for the lawyers, for the money, for everything I did wrong." "I know," Elena said, not looking at him. "Your email, it was a start." "I want to do better," Harrison said. "I want to learn how to be what she needs, what you both need. But Elena, I don't have a manual for this. I don't know the rules." "There are no rules," Elena said, finally meeting his eyes. "Just show up, that's all. Just keep showing up." "I can do that," Harrison said. "I will do that." And for the next 2 hours, he did. He fed ducks with Lily. He pushed her on the swings. He sat in the sandbox and built a castle that immediately fell apart, which made Lily laugh so hard she got hiccups. He did not check his phone once, did not think about work or meetings or anything beyond this moment, this park, this daughter he was learning to know. When it was time to leave, Lily hugged him goodbye, a real hug this time, not cautious but trusting. "Will you come again?" she asked. "Next Saturday?" Harrison looked at Elena, asking permission. "Same time?" Elena hesitated, then nodded. "Same time." As they walked away, Lily turned back and waved. Harrison waved until they disappeared around the corner, then sat alone on the bench, covered in melted ice cream and sandbox dust, and smiled until his face hurt. He pulled out his phone and opened the video diary app. "Day 1, he recorded. "I learned Lily's favorite ice cream flavor, strawberry. I'll never forget it." The following Thursday, Elena's phone rang at 2:47 in the morning. She jerked awake, heart pounding, immediately thinking the worst. Carmen, an accident, something terrible. "Hello?" Her voice came out hoarse with sleep and fear. "Elena," Carmen's voice, tight with worry. "Don't panic, but Lily's burning up. I've been trying to bring her fever down for an hour, but it keeps rising. She's at 103.5, and I think you should come home." Elena was already out of bed, pulling on clothes with shaking hands. She had taken an extra night shift, needed the money, left Lily with Carmen overnight. I'm coming right now. Should I call 911? "Not yet. But Elena, she keeps asking for you." "And she's asking for her father too." Elena's hands stilled. "Harrison, she wants both of you," Carmen said. "I'm sorry, Mija. I know it's complicated, but she's scared and she wants her daddy." Elena closed her eyes, swallowed her pride. "I'll call him." She hung up, stared at Harrison's number in her contacts. It was not even 3 in the morning. He would be asleep. He would be angry at being woken. She pressed call before she could talk herself out of it. He answered on the second ring. "Elena, what's wrong?" His voice was alert, awake, like he had been waiting for her call. "It's Lily," Elena said, and her voice broke. "She's sick, high fever. Carmen can't get it down. I'm heading home now, but she's asking for you, and I don't know what to do. I need..." "Harrison, I need help." "Give me your address," Harrison said, already moving. She could hear him in the background, keys jingling, door closing. "I'm coming 15 minutes. "Harrison, it's 3 in the morning. "I'm her father," he said simply. "Give me the address." Elena gave it. Then she ran for the subway, praying it would be fast enough, praying Lily would be okay, praying she had not made a terrible mistake by calling him. She made it home in 20 minutes. Found Carmen pacing with Lily in her arms, the little girl flushed and whimpering. "Mama!" Lily cried when she saw Elena. "I don't feel good." "I know, baby. I know." Elena took her daughter, felt the heat radiating from her small body. "We're going to make you better, I promise." A knock at the door. Carmen opened it, and Harrison stood there in jeans and a t-shirt, hair disheveled, holding a pharmacy bag. "I stopped at an all-night drugstore," he said, coming in without waiting for invitation. "Got children's fever reducer, electrolyte drinks, everything the pharmacist recommended." He looked at Lily in Elena's arms, and his face went pale. "She's really burning up. 103.8 now," Carmen said, showing him the thermometer. "It went up." "Hospital?" Harrison asked, looking at Elena. "If it hits 104, Elena said, "that's when we go. But first, we try to bring it down." For the next 4 hours, they worked together. Harrison on his phone with a pediatrician friend, getting advice. Elena alternating cool cloths and medicine. Carmen making soup and tea. And Lily, drifting in and out of consciousness, sometimes crying, sometimes sleeping, always holding tight to one parent or the other. At 5:30, the fever broke. Dropped to 101, then 100. Lily's eyes opened, clearer now, and she looked between Elena and Harrison with confusion. "You're both here," she said, voice small and scratchy. "We're both here," Harrison confirmed, his hand on her forehead checking for heat. "We're not going anywhere." "Promise?" Lily asked. Harrison's eyes met Elena's over their daughter's head. A question. Permission. Hope. Elena nodded. "Promise," Harrison said. "I promise, Lily." Lily fell back asleep, peaceful this time. Elena sagged against the couch, exhaustion and relief making her dizzy. Harrison caught her before she could slide to the floor. "Hey," he said softly. "I've got you." "Thank you for coming," Elena whispered. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did," Harrison said. "You called. She needed me. Of course I came." "At 3 in the morning." "At any time," Harrison corrected. "Elena, I meant what I said. I'm showing up every time, always." Carmen appeared with coffee, took one look at them and said, "I'm going to lie down. Wake me if you need me." She disappeared into the bedroom, leaving them alone with sleeping Lily between them. "You should go," Elena said, though she did not want him to. "Get some sleep. You have work." "I called in," Harrison said. "Told them I had a family emergency." "Because I did." "Harrison, what? Is it wrong for me to want to make sure my daughter is okay, to want to be here when she wakes up?" Elena had no argument for that. So they sat in silence, watching Lily sleep, the apartment growing lighter as dawn approached. And somewhere in those quiet hours, Elena's hand found Harrison's, and neither of them pulled away. When Lily woke properly at 8, her fever completely gone, she found both parents asleep on either side of her, holding hands across her small body. "Mama," she whispered, touching Eleanor's face. "Dad stayed?" "He stayed," Eleanor confirmed, waking to find Harrison's eyes already open, watching them both with an expression that made her heart stutter. "Of course I stayed," Harrison said, squeezing Lily's hand. "Where else would I be?" And in that moment, in that small apartment with morning light streaming through cheap curtains, Harrison Croft finally understood what wealth really meant. The following week, Harrison called Elena with a request that made her stomach drop. "My mother wants to meet Lily," he said, sounding as nervous as Elena felt. "I know it's soon, and I know it's a lot, but she's been asking, actually, demanding is more accurate. Margaret doesn't really do asking." Your mother? Elena repeated flatly. The CEO's mother, who probably thinks I'm a gold digger who trapped her son with a convenient pregnancy. She doesn't think that, Harrison said, then paused. Okay, she might have thought that initially, but I corrected her, firmly, multiple times. Elena, she just wants to meet her granddaughter. Can we at least try? Elena thought about saying no, thought about all the ways this could go wrong. But then she thought about Lily, who deserved to know all her family, even the intimidating parts. Neutral location, Elena said, public. And if she says anything that upsets Lily, we leave, immediately. Deal, Harrison said, relief evident in his voice. How about that cafe near the park, the one with the good hot chocolate? They met on Saturday at 2. Margaret Croft arrived exactly on time, dressed in what was probably casual wear for her but looked like couture to Elena. Tall, elegant, grey hair perfectly coiffed, assessing eyes that missed nothing. You must be Elena, Margaret said, extending a hand. Her grip was firm, her gaze penetrating. And this is Lily. Lily, dressed in her favourite blue dress with flowers, looked up at her grandmother with wide eyes. Hello, she said politely, exactly as Elena had coached her. It's nice to meet you. Margaret's expression softened, just slightly. Hello, Lily, you have your father's eyes. That's what everyone says, Lily said. I have Mama's smile, though, and her freckles. See, she pointed to her nose, where a dusting of freckles matched Eleanor's exactly. So I see, Margaret said, and was that warmth in her voice? Shall we sit down? I understand they make excellent hot chocolate here. The afternoon proceeded with careful politeness. Margaret asked Lily about school, about her interests, about her favourite subjects. She listened, really listened, when Lily talked about her butterfly project and her best friend Emma and how she wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up. A noble profession, Margaret said, helping creatures who cannot help themselves. That takes a compassionate heart. Mama says everyone deserves kindness, Lily said. Even people who seem mean sometimes are just scared or hurt inside. Margaret's eyes flicked to Elena with something that might have been respect. Your mother sounds very wise. She is, Lily said loyally. She takes care of me all by herself. Well, Aunt Carmen helps, but mostly Mama. She works really hard. I'm sure she does, Margaret said, and this time when she looked at Elena, there was acknowledgement there, perhaps even admiration. But then Margaret's tone shifted, became more formal. Lily, would you like to go look at the pastry case while I speak with your parents for a moment? Lily looked at Eleanor, who nodded permission. Once Lily was out of earshot, Margaret's pleasant demeanour cooled slightly. I won't pretend I wasn't shocked by all this, Margaret said, addressing Eleanor directly. A grandchild I knew nothing about, a young woman from different circumstances, but I've spent the past few weeks watching my son, and I haven't seen him this engaged, this alive in 20 years. She paused, seemed to be choosing her words carefully. I don't know your motivations, Miss Rojas. I don't know if you're here for Harrison or for what he can provide. But I know this. That little girl is remarkable. Kind, intelligent, well-mannered. You've raised her beautifully, alone. That speaks to your character more than any background check could. You ran a background check on me. Eleanor's voice went cold. Of course I did, Margaret said unapologetically. You're involved with my son. You have his child. I'd be a fool not to. What I found was instructive, waitress, retail clerk, mailroom worker. Never missed a rent payment, despite it being close sometimes. Never asked for public assistance. Never contacted Harrison for money, even when you clearly needed it. Pride, Ms. Rojas, is expensive, but it's also telling. I don't need your approval, Elena said quietly, and I don't need your money. I needed your son to be a father. That's all I've ever needed. I know, Margaret said, surprising her. And that's why I'm going to say something I rarely say. I was wrong about you. I assumed, well, it doesn't matter what I assumed. What matters is that my granddaughter is happy. My son is becoming the man I always hoped he'd be. And you've given our family something we didn't know we needed. She reached into her purse, pulled out an envelope. Elena tensed, preparing to refuse whatever check was inside. But when Margaret slid it across the table, it wasn't a check. It was a photograph. Black and white, old, faded. A young woman holding a baby, laughing at the camera. That's me with Harrison, Margaret said softly. Before Richard died, before I became what I became, hard, focused on business and legacy instead of love. I don't want Harrison to make the same mistakes I did, and I think you won't let him. Elena looked at the photo, saw warmth in young Margaret's eyes that the older version had learned to hide. Keep it, Margaret said. So you know that some of us Crofts are capable of love, even if we forget how to show it sometimes? Lily returned with a cupcake she was already half eating. Can Grandma come to my school art show next week? She asked, through a mouthful of frosting. We're supposed to invite family. Margaret looked at Eleanor, asking permission without words. If she'd like to, Eleanor said carefully. She's welcome. I would be honored, Margaret said, and when she smiled at Lily, it was genuine and warm and grandmotherly. I'll be there. As they left, Harrison pulled Elena aside while Margaret walked ahead with Lily, already deep in conversation about butterflies. Thank you, Harrison said. I know that was hard. She can be intense. She loves you, Elena said. She's just forgotten how to show it without armor. Like someone else I know, Harrison said, looking at Eleanor meaningfully. Eleanor's cheeks warmed. I don't know what you mean. Don't you? Harrison's hand brushed hers, testing. When she didn't pull away, he twined their fingers together. Elena, I know we're taking this slow, for Lily, and I respect that. But I need you to know, this isn't just about being Lily's father. I want to be here for you too. If you'll let me. Harrison? Elena's voice caught. I'm scared. I can't go through losing you again. Then don't lose me, Harrison said simply. Keep me. Let me stay. Let me prove that I'm not going anywhere. Not this time. Before Elena could respond, Lily called out, Mama, Dad, Grandma wants to know if we can all have dinner together sometime. Elena and Harrison looked at each other, hands still linked, the future suddenly visible and terrifying and wonderful all at once. Maybe, Elena called back, maybe we can. Harrison squeezed her hand. Maybe as a start, he said. Maybe is all I can give right now, Elena admitted. Then maybe is perfect, Harrison said, and he meant it. 2 weeks later, Harrison showed up at Elena's apartment with a small wrapped box and an expression that was equal parts nervous and determined. What's this? Elena asked, letting him in. Lily was at Carmen's for a sleepover, giving Eleanor a rare evening alone. She had not expected Harrison to appear at her door at 7:30 with mysterious packages. Open it, Harrison said, sitting on her threadbare couch like it was a throne. But maybe sit down first. Eleanor sat, heart hammering, and unwrapped the box carefully. Inside was a USB drive with a single label. For Lily and for you. What is this? Elena asked. Press play, Harrison said, pulling out his laptop and setting it up. Please, I need you to see this. Elena plugged in the drive. A video file appeared. She clicked it, and Harrison's face filled the screen. Tired, emotional, raw. Hi, Lily, Video Harrison said. I'm your father, and I need to tell you I'm sorry. Elena watched, transfixed, as Harrison poured his heart out to the camera, about his regrets, his fears, his mistakes, about the week in Portland with her mother, about how he had failed them both, about how he was trying to learn to be better. There were more videos, dozens of them. Short entries, recorded late at night or early in the morning. Harrison talking about his childhood, his father's absence, his ex-fiancée's betrayal, the walls he had built, the man he had become, the man he wanted to be. "This is for Lily," he said in the final entry. "But it's for her mother too, because Elena, you asked me once what I saw when I looked at Lily, a daughter I wanted to know, or a problem I needed to solve. And I didn't have an answer then. But I do now. I see everything. I see hope and joy and a future I never knew I wanted. I see a little girl with my eyes and your heart, and she's the best thing I never knew I needed. And when I look at you, I see the woman I loved 9 years ago, the woman I never stopped loving, even when I was too broken and scared to reach for what I wanted most. I'm not that scared boy anymore, Elena. I'm just a man trying to be worthy of you both. This diary, it's all I have to give. The truth. My truth. For Lily to know someday, for you to know now. I love you. I loved you then. I love you now. And if you give me the chance, I'll spend the rest of my life proving it." The video ended. Elena sat in stunned silence, tears streaming down her face. "I've been recording them for 3 weeks," Harrison said quietly. "Every night. Everything I want Lily to know about me. About you. About us. About where she came from and why I wasn't there and how much I wish I had been." He swallowed hard. "You can give them to her whenever you think she's ready. Or never, if you think it's better. But I needed you to see them. To understand that I'm all in. Elena, no lawyers, no money, just me. This is all I have. My truth. My heart. It's yours if you want it." Elena could not speak, could only stare at this man who had taken her terrified rejection and turned it into vulnerability, who had taken her anger and transformed it into understanding, who had learned to love not by providing, but by being present. "Harrison," she finally whispered, This is beautiful. Is it enough?" Harrison asked, and she heard the fear beneath the hope. "Am I enough?" Eleanor set the laptop aside and turned to face him fully. "You came to my apartment at 3 in the morning when Lily was sick. You sat through an awkward meeting with your intimidating mother. You spent 3 weeks recording your heart for a daughter you barely know. You're learning her favorite ice cream flavor and her best friend's name and what makes her laugh. You're not trying to buy your way in. You're trying to earn it. That's, Harrison, that's everything." "But is it enough for you?" Harrison asked, leaning closer. "Elena, I know we're taking this slow. I know we're focusing on Lily, but I need to know, is there any chance for us, not just as parents, but as what?" Elena whispered, her heart in her throat. "As the people we should have been 9 years ago," Harrison said, his hand coming up to cup her face. "As the people we're becoming now, together. Elena, I wasted 9 years not fighting for you. I'm not wasting another day. I love you. I never stopped loving you, and I know that's terrifying and complicated and maybe too fast, but it's true, so I'm putting it out there. No pressure, no expectations, just the truth." Eleanor's breath caught. 1,000 fears rose up. What if he leaves again? What if he disappoints Lily? What if? But louder than the fears was a single, powerful truth. She had never stopped loving him either. "Ask me again in 6 months," Elena said, echoing their earlier conversation in the park. "When you've proven this isn't temporary." 6 months, Harrison said, nodding. "I can wait 6 months. I can wait 60 years if that's what it takes." "Harrison," Elena said, and her hand came up to cover his on her cheek. "You don't have to wait." She kissed him, soft and tentative at first, then deeper, 9 years of longing and loss and love pouring into that single moment. Harrison made a sound against her mouth, surprise and relief and joy, and pulled her closer, gentle and desperate all at once. When they finally broke apart, Both breathing hard, Harrison rested his forehead against hers. "I promise," he whispered. "I promise I won't leave. I won't disappoint you. I won't break your heart." "You can't promise that," Elena said. "People hurt each other. It's inevitable." "Then I promise to stay when it gets hard," Harrison amended. "To choose you, every day. To love you even when you're difficult and I'm stubborn and we're both scared. I promise to keep showing up. That's all I can promise, Elena, but I mean it with everything I am." Elena believed him. And that, more than anything, was the real transformation. They spent the rest of the evening on that old couch, talking about everything and nothing, making plans, building a future, figuring out what their family would look like, messy and imperfect and real. "So," Harrison said eventually, "since we're apparently doing this, can I take you on a proper date?" Elena laughed. "We have a daughter together, and you want to take me on a date?" "We did everything backwards," Harrison pointed out. "Maybe it's time we did something the right way. Dinner this weekend, while Lily's with Carmen." "Okay," Elena said, surprising herself. "Yes, a date. A real date. I'll pick you up at 7, Harrison said, standing to leave. He kissed her once more at the door, slow and sweet. "Good night, Elena." "Good night, Harrison." She watched him walk down the hallway, watched him turn back twice to smile at her, watched him disappear around the corner. Then she closed the door, leaned against it, and let herself feel something she had not felt in 9 years. Hope, pure, terrifying, wonderful hope. 3 months later, Elena's tiny apartment was filled with the smell of burnt garlic bread and the sound of laughter. "I told you I can't cook," Harrison said, waving smoke away from the oven while Lily dissolved into giggles, and Elena tried very hard not to laugh at his expense. "You run a multi-million-dollar company," Elena said, opening windows to let out the smoke. "But you can't make garlic bread." "Different skill sets," Harrison said defensively. "I can negotiate international deals. I can read a profit-loss statement. I cannot, apparently, operate a conventional oven." "It's okay, Dad," Lily said, patting his arm consolingly. "Mama burns stuff all the time too." "Hey," Elena protested, "I do not burn stuff all the time." "You burned the pancakes last week," Lily pointed out, "and the rice the week before that. And remember the cookies." Harrison and Elena looked at each other and burst out laughing. "Okay," Elena conceded. "Maybe I burn stuff sometimes, but at least I've never set off the smoke alarm." "Yet," Harrison said. "The night is young." They ordered pizza instead and sat around Elena's small kitchen table, the 3 of them squeezed together in a space meant for 2. Harrison's fancy executive life felt like a distant memory, as he shared a veggie supreme with his daughter and the woman he loved, arguing about whether pineapple belonged on pizza and whether dogs or cats made better pets. "This is nice," Lily said, looking between her parents with satisfaction. "It feels like a real family." "It is a real family," Elena said, reaching across to squeeze Lily's hand. "We're just figuring out what that looks like for us." "I like what it looks like," Lily said. Then, with the directness of a child, "Are you and Dad going to get married?" Elena choked on her pizza. Harrison nearly dropped his slice. They looked at each other, panicked and amused in equal measure. Elena started. That's a big question, sweetheart." "Emma's parents are married," Lily said, "and Marcus's parents, and basically everyone's parents. I just wondered if you and Dad would get married too, because you like each other, right? You hold hands and smile at each other, and Dad comes over a lot now." "We do like each other," Harrison said carefully. "Very much. But marriage is, it's complicated." "It doesn't seem complicated," Lily said. "If you love someone, you stay together. That's what Mama always says. Love is simple. People make it complicated." Out of the mouths of babes, Eleanor thought. "You're very wise, Lily Rose," Elena said. "But let's let the grown-ups figure out the grown-up stuff, okay? For now, let's just enjoy being together, all of us." "Okay," Lily said, apparently satisfied. "Can we watch a movie?" They migrated to the couch, Lily squished between her parents, arguing good-naturedly about what to watch. They settled on an animated film about a princess and a dragon, and within 20 minutes, Lily was fast asleep, her head on Elena's shoulder, her hand in Harrison's. "She asked about marriage," Harrison whispered, careful not to wake Lily. That's good, right? That she's thinking about us as permanent." "She's always thinking 10 steps ahead," Elena said. "Gets that from me." "Gets her brilliant mind from you," Harrison corrected. "Gets her stubborn determination from both of us, I think." They fell into comfortable silence, watching the movie neither was paying attention to. Harrison's arm stretched along the back of the couch, not quite touching Elena, but close enough that she could feel his warmth. "I've been thinking," Harrison said eventually, "about what she said, about marriage." Elena's heart stuttered. "Harrison." "Not yet," Harrison said quickly. "I know it's too soon. I know we're still figuring this out, but Elena, I want you to know that's where I'm headed. That's my intention. Not just co-parenting, not just dating. I want everything, a future, a family, all of it." "You already have a family," Elena said softly. "You have Lily." "I want you too," Harrison said, turning to look at her fully. "I want to come home to you. I want to wake up next to you. I want to fight about burnt garlic bread and fall asleep watching movies neither of us are paying attention to. I want every boring, ordinary, extraordinary moment with you." Elena's eyes filled. "You know I'm terrified, right? That I'm still scared you'll wake up one day and realize this ordinary life isn't enough for you." "This ordinary life is everything," Harrison said. "Elena, I spent years chasing success, building empires, accumulating wealth. And I was miserable. This..." He gestured around the tiny apartment with its mismatched furniture and water stains on the ceiling. "This is the happiest I've ever been, because it's real. It's us. It's home." "I love you," Elena whispered. "I'm terrified and scarred and still learning to trust, but I love you. I never stopped." "I know," Harrison said, pressing a kiss to her temple. "And I'm going to spend every day proving I'm worth that love, starting tomorrow. And the day after, and every day after that." Lily stirred between them, mumbled something about butterflies, and settled back into sleep. Elena and Harrison looked at their daughter, then at each other, and saw the same truth reflected back. This was it. This messy, imperfect, beautiful thing they were building together. This was family. This was love. This was home. And for the first time in 9 years, none of them were afraid of the future. The school gymnasium smelled like cardboard, poster paint, and barely contained chaos. Parents and children milled around displays of science projects, volcanoes, solar systems, bean plant growth charts, each one representing hours of work and childhood dreams of winning first place. Elena stood with Harrison near the entrance, both of them scanning the crowd for Lily. She had insisted on arriving early to set up her project by herself. "I need it to be perfect," she had said that morning, her face serious with determination. "This is important, Mama." "There," Harrison said, pointing. Across the gymnasium, Lily stood next to a papier-mâché volcano, carefully arranging bottles of vinegar and baking soda. She wore her favorite blue dress, the one with flowers, and she had insisted on braiding her own hair that morning. Elena's heart swelled with pride and something dangerously close to tears. "She's so grown up," Elena whispered. "When did that happen?" "When we weren't looking," Harrison said, taking her hand. "Come on, let's go see what our daughter's been working on." Our daughter. Those words still sent warmth through Elena every time Harrison said them. Not my daughter or your daughter, but ours. A family, together. They approached Lily's station. She looked up, her face breaking into that smile that was all Eleanor, but somehow also all Harrison too. "You came," Lily said, as if there had ever been any doubt. "Both of you together." "We wouldn't miss this," Harrison said, crouching down to examine the volcano. "This looks incredible. Lily, did you make this yourself?" "Mostly," Lily admitted. "Aunt Carmen helped with the papier-mâché. But I painted it and did all the research and wrote the explanation by myself." "Want to see?" She launched into an explanation of volcanic eruptions, chemical reactions, and why adding dish soap made better foam. Harrison listened with complete attention, asking questions, genuinely engaged. Elena watched them together and marveled at how far they had come. A year ago, Harrison did not know Lily existed. 6 months ago, he was trying to buy his way into her life with lawyers and money. Now he stood in a school gymnasium covered in volcano dust, discussing baking soda reactions like it was the most important conversation in the world. "Ms. Rojas," a voice behind them. Elena turned to find Lily's teacher, Mrs. Anderson, smiling warmly. "I wanted to say how wonderful it is to see Lily so happy this year. She talks about her father constantly. It's clear he's been very present in her life." Elena glanced at Harrison, who had gone pink with pride and maybe a little embarrassment. "He tries very hard," Elena said. "We both do." "It shows," Mrs. Anderson said. "Lily's confidence has grown tremendously, and this volcano project, she worked harder on this than I've ever seen her work on anything. She wanted to make you both proud." "She does," Harrison said, his voice thick. "She always does." Mrs. Anderson moved on to greet other parents. Harrison looked at Elena, and she saw tears in his eyes that he did not bother to hide. "A year," he said quietly. "1 year of knowing her, and she's already the most important thing in my life. How did I survive before without knowing her?" "You didn't," Elena said simply. "You existed, but you weren't really living." "No," Harrison agreed. "I wasn't, but I am now." The judging began. 3 teachers moving from project to project, taking notes, asking questions. Lily stood at attention by her volcano, answering queries with confidence that made Elena's heart sing. When the judges moved on, Lily deflated slightly. "I don't think I won," she said, looking disappointed. "The solar system project was really good, and the plant growth one had actual data." "You worked hard," Harrison said, kneeling beside her. "That's what matters. And your volcano is amazing. I'm proud of you no matter what the judges say." "Really?" Lily asked, needing the reassurance. "Really," Harrison confirmed. "Win or lose, you're my favorite scientist." Lily brightened. "Can I do the demonstration now, even if I didn't win?" "Absolutely," Elena said. "That's the best part anyway." They gathered around the volcano. Elena, Harrison, and several other families who had stopped to watch. Lily explained the process one more time, her voice growing stronger with each word. Then she carefully measured baking soda into the volcano's core, added dish soap for extra foam, and held up the vinegar bottle. "Here goes nothing," Lily said, and poured. The reaction was immediate and spectacular. Foam erupted from the volcano's crater, cascading down the sides in magnificent excess, more foam than any of them expected, much more. "Oh no," Lily said as the foam kept coming. Oh no, I think I used too much." The foam hit the table, overflowed onto the floor, and splashed outward in a glorious, messy explosion. Parents jumped back, children shrieked with delight, and Lily stood frozen, watching her volcano create chaos, her face a mixture of horror and wonder. "I'm sorry," Lily called out. "I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to." Harrison started laughing. Not polite chuckling, but full, genuine laughter. He stepped forward, directly into the foam, not caring that it was covering his expensive shoes and staining his pants. "This is amazing," he said, scooping up foam. "Lily, this is the best volcano I've ever seen." "But I made a mess," Lily said, close to tears. "Everyone's looking. I ruined everything." "You didn't ruin anything," Elena said, joining Harrison in the foam. "You created something spectacular. Look around, baby. Everyone's smiling." And it was true. The other children were laughing, begging their parents to let them touch the foam. The teachers were grinning, taking photos. Even the other parents had relaxed, seeing the joy in the chaos. "Most enthusiastic presentation," one of the judges announced, laughing as she handed Lily a ribbon. "For the volcano that brought the house down." Literally. Lily took the ribbon with shaking hands, then looked at her parents, both standing in foam up to their ankles, smiling at her with such love and pride that whatever embarrassment she felt melted away. "We're covered in volcano," Lily said, starting to giggle. "We are," Harrison agreed, "and it's perfect." Eleanor pulled them both into a hug, foam and all. Harrison's arms came around both of them, holding tight. And in that moment, surrounded by mess and laughter and love, Lily looked up at both her parents and said the words that made everything worth it. "I love you both," she said. "So much." "I love you too, Lily," Elena said, her voice breaking. "I love you both more than all the stars and the spaces between them," Harrison said, completing their ritual without even knowing it was one. Lily beamed. Then she pulled back slightly and asked, "Can we take a picture, all three of us, with the volcano?" They posed together, covered in foam, grinning like fools. Another parent snapped the photo on Harrison's phone. When Harrison looked at it later, he would see not just a messy science fair disaster, but a family, complete, happy. His. As they cleaned up foam and packed away the volcano, Lily chattering about next year's project, Harrison caught Elena's hand. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for giving me this, for giving me them, for giving me a life worth living." "Thank you for showing up," Elena said, "every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard." "Is it crazy," Harrison asked, "that I want to do this forever? Science fairs and burnt dinners and messy apartments and all of it?" "If it's crazy," Elena said, "then we're both insane." "Because I want the same thing. Elena Roas," Harrison said, and something in his tone made her heart skip. "I know we agreed to take things slow. I know we said we'd wait. But standing here, covered in volcano foam, watching our daughter, I can't wait anymore. Not for the big gestures, not for the perfect moment. This is the perfect moment. This mess, this joy, this family. So I'm going to ask you something, and you can say no. You can say, not yet. You can say anything, but I have to ask." He dropped to one knee, right there in the middle of the school gymnasium, surrounded by science projects and foam and curious onlookers. From his pocket, he pulled a small velvet box. "Elena, will you marry me? Will you let me spend every day for the rest of my life showing up for you and Lily? Will you let me be your husband and her father and the luckiest man alive? I promise I'll burn garlic bread and step in volcano foam and show up at 3 in the morning when you need me. I promise I'll be present, not perfect, real, not rich, yours completely. So, will you marry me?" Elena stared at him, at the man kneeling in foam, holding a ring, looking at her like she was his whole world. Around them, people had stopped to watch. Lily stood nearby, her hands pressed to her mouth, eyes wide with hope. "You're proposing at a school science fair," Elena said, her voice somewhere between laughing and crying, "covered in volcano." "I'm proposing at the moment I realized I never want to be anywhere else," Harrison corrected. "With the woman I love. In front of our daughter, covered in proof that even when things get messy, we handle it together. So yes, I'm proposing at a school science fair. Is that a problem?" "No," Elena said, tears spilling over. "It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Yes, Harrison. Yes, I'll marry you. Yes to all of it." Harrison stood, slipped the ring on her finger, and kissed her, while the gymnasium erupted in applause. Lily crashed into them both, wrapping her arms around their legs, laughing and crying at the same time. "We're a family," Lily said. "A real family. Does this mean Dad's moving in? Can we get a dog? Can I be in the wedding? Can I? "Yes to all of it," Harrison said, picking Lily up and pulling Elena close. "Yes to everything. Forever." As they walked out of that gymnasium, Elena looked at the ring on her finger, simple and beautiful and perfect, and thought about how far they had come, from a week in Portland to 9 years of separation to this moment, covered in foam. A family at last. Life, she thought, was like that volcano, messy, unpredictable, overflowing when you least expected it. But oh, how spectacular when you let it be what it was meant to be. Not perfect, just real. And real was everything. 1 year later, the wedding had been small and perfect. Just family and close friends in the same park where Harrison had first brought Lily ice cream. Carmen had cried. Margaret had actually smiled. And Lily, dressed as flower girl in blue with flowers, had taken her job very seriously. Now, they stood in Harrison's, no, their living room, unpacking the last boxes from Elena's apartment. Lily's drawings covered one entire wall, a gallery of butterfly art and family portraits. Elena's worn furniture mixed with Harrison's expensive pieces, creating something neither elegant nor shabby, but uniquely theirs. "I still think we should have gotten the penthouse," Harrison teased, opening a box of books. "All this space going to waste." "I still think you're ridiculous," Elena shot back. "This apartment has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and an actual kitchen. It's more space than I've ever had in my life." "Our life now," Harrison corrected. "Everything I have is yours. Everything you have is mine. That's how marriage works, right?" "Is it?" Elena asked, coming to wrap her arms around him from behind. "Because I'm pretty sure I got the better end of this deal." "Not possible," Harrison said, turning in her arms. "I got you. I got Lily. I got a life I didn't know I was allowed to want." "You got a man who burns garlic bread and can't fold laundry correctly." "I got a man who shows up," Elena corrected, "every day, without fail. That's worth more than perfect garlic bread." Lily burst into the room, carrying her beloved stuffed rabbit. "Mama, Dad, can we go to the park? Please, please, please. I want to feed the ducks." "Again?" Harrison asked. "We fed the ducks yesterday." "But they're always hungry," Lily said with perfect 8-year-old logic. "Besides, it's Saturday. We always go to the park on Saturday." Elena and Harrison exchanged glances. Saturday afternoons at the park had become their tradition. Ice cream first, ducks second. Lily running around while her parents sat on their blanket and talked about everything and nothing. "Okay," Elena said. "Park it is, but first, homework." "I already finished it," Lily said proudly. "See?" She thrust a worksheet at them. "Math and spelling." "All done." "Then park it is," Harrison said, ruffling her hair. "Go get your shoes on." As Lily thundered off to her room, Elena pulled Harrison close. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For this, for keeping your promise, for being present, for loving us exactly as we are." "Thank you for giving me the chance," Harrison said, kissing her softly. "For seeing past my mistakes, for believing I could be better, for letting me be part of this incredible life you built." "We built it together," Elena corrected. "We're still building it, every day." "Ready?" Lily announced, returning with shoes on the wrong feet and her jacket inside out. "Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!" They walked to the park, the 3 of them, hands linked together. Lily in the middle, swinging between her parents, talking about butterflies and school, and whether they could please get a dog. "Maybe," Elena said, winking at Harrison. "We'll see." "Maybe means yes, eventually," Lily told Harrison confidently. "I've learned this." "She's not wrong," Harrison admitted. At the park, they fed the ducks. They ate ice cream, strawberry for Lily, Chocolate for Elena, vanilla for Harrison. They sat on their blanket and watched the world go by, secure in the knowledge that this was where they belonged. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Lily leaned against Elena, who leaned against Harrison, and said, "This is the best day ever." "You say that every Saturday," Elena pointed out. "Because it's true every Saturday," Lily said simply. "Every day with you is the best day." Harrison looked at his wife and daughter, at this life he had almost lost, at this family he had fought to deserve. "You know what?" he said. "She's right. Every day with you both is the best day." And as they watched the sunset together, wrapped in warmth and love, and the absolute certainty of being exactly where they were meant to be, Harrison Croft, CEO, millionaire, former commitment phobe, understood the truth that had taken him 46 years to learn. Success wasn't measured in dollars or deals or buildings with your name on them. Success was this moment, this family, this love that had survived 9 years of separation and fear and pride, only to come back stronger, truer, more real. This was wealth. This was everything. And Harrison Croft had never been richer in his entire life. I hope you enjoyed today's story. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more stories like this. Leave a like and comment below what you thought of the story. See you in the next video.